The state of Texas carried out its first execution of 2025 on February 5th, when Stephen LaWayne Nelson was put to death by lethal injection for the 2011 capital murder of Arlington pastor Clinton Dobson. The case, culminating in Nelson's death at the age of 37, stood as a stark symbol of the judicial and moral complexity inherent in capital punishment, particularly due to the persistent questions over his exact role in the fatal act. On the morning of March 3, 2011, Dobson, a 28-year-old beloved figure in the North Point Baptist Church, was found brutally beaten and suffocated with a plastic bag during a robbery. The church secretary was also violently assaulted. Nelson was quickly implicated, with evidence including Dobson's blood found on his shoes and the use of the victim's stolen credit cards for a subsequent shopping spree. However, from the moment of his arrest, Nelson maintained that while he was a willing participant in the robbery, his role was limited to that of a lookout, and he was not the individual who directly inflicted the fatal violence. Nelson was convicted of capital murder and sentenced to death in October 2012 by a Tarrant County jury. The contentious aspect of his conviction hinged on Texas's law of parties, which allowed the jury to find him equally guilty of capital murder if they believed he should have anticipated that lethal force might be used during the robbery, even if he did not cause the death himself. The jury did not specify which of the two theories, that he was the killer or merely a party to the crime, formed the basis of their death sentence. This ambiguity became the central focus of nearly a decade of appeals, where Nelson's defense team argued that his punishment was disproportionate to his admitted offense, especially considering that the other alleged participants in the robbery were never prosecuted for Dobson's murder. In the months leading up to the scheduled execution date, anti-death penalty advocates and Nelson's spiritual advisor, the Reverend Jeff Hood, rallied support, arguing that a system designed to ensure justice had instead singled out one man for the ultimate penalty, while others walked free. The case sparked a highly polarized conversation among religious communities, with some Christian figures opposing the execution as an act contrary to mercy, while others, including members of Dobson's church, publicly affirmed their support for the punishment as necessary justice for a monstrous crime. Despite the pleas and a final, desperate appeal lodged to the U.S. Supreme Court on the day of the execution, all attempts to secure a stay were denied. Stephen Nelson was pronounced dead at 6:50 p.m. on February 5, 2025, at the Huntsville unit. In his final moments, he offered no words of confession or remorse for the murder, instead expressing his enduring love to his wife who watched from the witness room. His last words, a stark sign-off to the warden, "I'm at peace. I'm ready to be at home. Let's ride, warden," encapsulated the defiant complexity of his persona to the very end. His execution closed the book on a brutal 14-year-old case, but the shadow of doubt and the questions about the equitable application of the law of parties ensured that Nelson's death would serve as a powerful and a troubling footnote in Texas's history of capital punishment. We take this time to extend our deepest condolences to the family and loved ones of Reverend Clint Dobson, whose life and ministry touched so many. We also acknowledge the solemn reality surrounding the individual who faced capital punishment in this case. Our hearts go out to all who have been affected by this tragedy, both the innocent who were lost and the lives forever changed by the events that followed. May this serve as a moment of reflection, compassion, and prayer for healing, for justice tempered with mercy, and for peace to rest upon every family enduring pain and loss. Our thoughts and prayers remain with all of the fallen and their families.